Let's record a podcast.
Do it. Well, you said that to me 5 minutes ago.
I know, but we haven't done it yet.
Yes, I know.
Talk and audio.
It's graceful and beautiful and physical and angry all at the same time.
Were you idiot, your mind would cave in and your heart would explode within your chest.
This is going to be a shame.
Here we go!
We're kicking off another week of Talk and Audio. Matt Robinson in the TCA Studio in beautiful Bytown, Canada, sitting across the table from Rob Christie. What's happening, man?
I'm feeling back. I'm feeling graceful, physical, and
Angry.
100%. Beautiful.
Oh,
don't forget the beautiful part.
No,
I am also.
I'm forgetting it.
I am. Yeah, back's feeling good.
Okay.
I was out shoveling some of the stuff.
There's been a lot of that going on.
That didn't get shoveled. Maybe the last big snowstorm, which
Right. Had you emptied your pool?
Now is a good time. If you haven't closed that bad boy,
You're not going to need it for the...
Yeah.
They just announced, though, the canal opening up last day or so.
Today, Sunday. Yeah. That's and I think that feels a bit early. Oh, not early because the weather's not cold enough, but they usually say you need 10 straight days of sort of minus 10 overnight and more, which
I would say it's like 300 days late is sort of the way I view that. 370 days late.
Yes. And so to me, if they're opening it a day or two early, it's because it didn't open last year.
Yeah.
And they're like striking while the iron's hot.
Sure, yeah.
They're not waiting for the optimal day. Because I think
we got to sell some goddamn beaver tails.
Well, and I think by, I don't know, Wednesday or Thursday this week, it's supposed to be 0.
Yeah.
So I think they're okay if they can get a good base down. But yeah, this morning it was with the wind chill in the backyard, minus 25.
Yeah.
So those of you who thought maybe winter was going to pass us by.
No.
Oh, no.
No.
Not the case.
It does not appear to be happening.
But I'm feeling fantastic, Matt.
Okay.
How about you?
You know what, man? Doing all right. Little tired. Our buddy Bunda sent me a link to the UFC card on Saturday night just before the co-main event. So I sort of thought, I'm probably just going to go to bed after the Leafs game. I'm trying to, you know me, I'm a bit of an insomniac. Don't sleep all that well. Leafs got...
depressed.
Yeah. They got beat up pretty good by the Canucks. And then I'm going to flip over. I'm going to watch the 49ers and the Packers. And I watched to the end of that, which I didn't plan on doing. And then Bunda texted me. He's like, oh, I forgot I was going to send you a link to the UFC card because I wasn't going to spend money on that one. And all of a sudden, that is now on my screen. I get the co-main and the main. Before you know it, it's 2 in the goddamn morning. So a little tired as we sit here Sunday afternoon recording this, but saw a lot of sports on Saturday. Hockey Day in Canada, PWHL, NHL, NFL, UFC. A lot going on, man. Tired.
Totally get it, man.
Tired.
But that's what it is to live the life of the single swinging bachelor that you are.
Yeah. Less swinging, more stubbing. That's what we'll call
More
it.
flicking than swinging.
And that's, Sunday we got, as you and I sit here right now, it hasn't happened yet, but 2 NFL games to come. And the Leafs on the last game for me of their West Coast road trip in Seattle, 9 o'clock. So
how's that trip been going?
Yeah, it hasn't gone particularly well. And there's nothing worse. Like, struggling is one thing. Struggling. But struggling out what? Like, I stayed up late to watch you stink.
Yeah, but
it's rough.
Only in the Leaf world do you get to be in Vancouver and play a 7 o'clock Eastern game. Oh,
yeah.
The rest of us have to suffer through the Leaf game at 7. And
happened a couple weeks ago, too. I think, was it Saturday night that they were in San Jose on the California trip? One of those teams had to play a 4 o'clock game to accommodate us in Hockey Night in Canada. And this is it for our West Coast trips. Next Saturday, it's Leafs and Jets in Winnipeg. You fuckers will play at 6 p.m. local because that's when the Leafs want you to play. You will do what you're told, and you will like it.
Well, nobody's watching out there anyways.
In Winnipeg, I think they're probably feeling pretty good.
Yeah, they're still averaging about 12,000 people in-house.
Oh, okay. And averaging, again, was it Saturday afternoon against Ottawa, kept their 3 goals or less streak alive for the 137th straight game or whatever it is.
And if you need any, and for a team that is 30 or honestly, whatever. It's 30-10-2.
The Jets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are their power play and their penalty kill, brutal. But they are.
When they've been without Kyle Connor, he just returned, I believe.
Shifley
was out.
So, and you're looking at a team, and now if they were smart, and
boy.
Yeah, but shovel day off and bonus, like they got enough smart people out there. I don't know why you're wasting Hellebuck on Ottawa on a Saturday. You were just hoping
to see, I don't know, Laurent Brossoit.
Well, we were, but also this is a team that they overplay him every year, man. They overplay Hellebuck, and he is awesome through the end of January.
Well, most years recently, they've been life and death to make it. They've had to overplay him. That doesn't appear to be the case this year.
But you don't need that now.
No.
And so to me, there's no, honestly, he's got a 2.1 goals against. He's a 925 save percentage. They are best 5-on-5 due to him. You look at the rest of that
100%,
lineup,
100%.
fairly generic.
Yeah.
But they will go as far as their 5-on-5 play and their goaltending takes them. So you're going to have to ease up on that mofo for the rest of the season.
What we don't want to ease up on is the pints. And you have provided both round 1 and round 2 today. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what we're going to open up with here?
Out to Perth yesterday. Had a lovely brunch. Had a fantastic lobster roll. I do love a lobster
For breakfast?
Roll. That was brunch.
Yeah, all right.
Took down a Hawaiian IPA from Spearhead.
Nice, okay.
I didn't love it.
Hawaiian IPA.
Yeah. And so it was supposed to be a little pineapple-y. I didn't really love it. It had a bit of an odd, not aftertaste, foretaste.
Front taste.
Yeah. So I said to the better half as we're leaving, I'm like, don't let me order that. If we come back here again.
Remind me, I don't like it.
And it's funny because I had it last time, and I couldn't remember how much I enjoyed it or not.
Right.
I will get to today's beers in a second.
Yeah.
But so she was, I asked.
Why don't you just take a spin?
I asked, yeah, exactly. I asked the waitress, I'm like, what do you have on tap? And so she ran through it, and there was some, and Spearhead. I always like the Spearhead stuff.
This is in Perth.
In Perth.
Yeah.
And so they had some Perth stuff. They had some Bridgemaster stuff. They had some Ashton. And so anyways, but the Spearhead. And they're like, I said, I've had that Hawaiian. The other one was a Spearhead, was their lager. Okay. I'm not traditionally a lager guy.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
I am a lager guy, but I rarely want to go for that when I go into a craft brewery. I'm like, no, give me something. Yeah.
It's very pedestrian, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like asking for the base model when you can actually, for nothing more, you can upgrade. So I said, I'll have the lager. And then, honestly, I had insto regret, right? I'm like, I shouldn't have done that. Anyways, waitress comes back and she's like, we're actually out of the decoy lager.
Yes!
And I'm like, woohoo! Yeah, I told her that. I'm like, I had instant regret. So I'll take the Hawaiian IPA.
Right.
Didn't love it. But the lobster roll, the bun was fantastic.
Okay.
Lots of lobster flavor, lots of lobster. I don't know what it is, but really
I don't even know what place we're shouting out right now, or if that
Rocky
matters.
River Cafe.
Okay.
It's
Perth,
nice. Yeah. It was very nice. But anyways, on the way out, I'm like, I usually like to stop at Perth, but you always hit Perth on the way out.
I sure do,
because it's right on the highway.
Yeah, on the way down to the cottage, grab a little Wendy's on the way to town. Stop, grab some Perth, and head off to the cottage. And I know you hit the other spot in town.
Yep, went down to Bridgemaster, and so last time I was there, they didn't have no stouts, no porters, no browns,
no balls.
Give me something that reaches down there and gives it a how she go. So anyways, went in and I said, okay, what do you got? What do you have? What do you recommend? Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, we have the new seasonal stout.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, perfect.
Yeah.
So what we're drinking here is the Hello Darkness stout from Bridgemaster. And so comes in at 5.5. I've had a first pull on it. It has it's got that, and I always say it, a little metallic up front. It has that sort of iron taste that you get with most, not a lot. It's not very creamy.
No, not creamy. I'm not getting the metallic thing. This is maybe almost chocolatey.
Yeah,
or
well, that's what they say.
Okay.
It's chocolate covered espresso nibs.
Yeah.
So that is what they're going for. So
Okay.
it is a bit of that chocolatey coffee kind of.
Right.
So that
It's pretty nice, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've never had. I've had one or two things from Bridgemasters before.
They had something in the calendar.
Yeah, I think that's right. And you and I talked in the green room before we fired up here that it used to be Lakehead,
Lake Town,
and then Weatherhead before that. So there's been some turnover there.
Yeah.
But what they've made under this new ownership, new title, whatever it might be.
New ownership because the Weatherhead split and the one guy took the name.
Okay. This is pretty nice, honestly. Like I remember looking at the name, and it's because the brewery is right there at the end of the bridge.
There's a
right?
bridge. There's
In
a bridge
theory,
right there, yeah.
the guy who would be the bridge master. So you're kind of like, all right, I get that.
Yep.
And, that works pretty nice. And so I think Versage brought something in here over the summer.
Yeah, not far from him.
No, it wouldn't be. So this is pretty nice off the hop, man.
So if you're heading up 7, it is literally a 90-second
No, it's not far at all.
swing off of 7.
Yeah.
And it's just down Beckwith is the street. So it is, I'm pretty sure Beckwith runs out to 7.
Right.
It is literally a 90-second swing. It's an easy get to, park right in front.
Yeah.
And the fridge, like honestly, you walk in the door, bang, fridge is right there.
Gorgeous.
So it's if you enjoy the stuff, and we'll have another one after this also from Bridgemaster, something different. But if you're liking it, they would love to see your smiling face.
And I do. I smile a lot, man. You know that's what I'm known for.
It's a
smiling.
toothy grin. It's actually a toothy grin. That's what they say.
I mentioned our pal Lever. He was on the last episode of the podcast towards the end of last week, still hanging out over in Italy. He had to react to the Dallas Cowboys last weekend.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, did not go particularly well. But the reason I would direct you to that episode of the podcast, I believe it's number 1238. Certainly it's on the podcast feed or at tallcanaudio.com. He told the story of maybe any North American man's traveling nightmare. And I would recommend you check that out. It's quite a tale he takes us on, as only Lever can. Lever loves to include all the details, right?
So it's a 15-minute story.
There's a story for sure, but it is right off the top, and so I would highly recommend you check that one out. I also want to let the good listener know, on Tuesday morning, for the first time ever on the TCA podcast, we are going to, and I'm going to see how quickly maybe Rob can grab this. Our guest on Tuesday morning is someone who, in the last calendar month alone, has reported on the Montreal Canadiens, has reported on the World Juniors, has called their first ever World Junior game on play-by-play, has called the Women's World Under-18 Championship, and is now all in on the PWHL here in the last month or so. Any stabs at
it's not Cheryl Pounder.
It is not Cheryl Pounder, although
is it Kenzie Lalonde?
It is Kenzie Lalonde. She will be on the podcast on Tuesday for the first time, making her TCA debut. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Pride of Stittsville.
That's right. And she was not.
Say it.
Yeah, I've already recorded with Kenzie. She was not shy about laying down her Ottawa roots. And you mentioned the name Cheryl Pounder. Traded a couple messages with her over the last day or two. Not this week, but next week she will be back on the podcast as well. So.
And she is on an upward trajectory.
100%. She is everywhere right now, man. Sens, Leafs, international stuff, World Junior stuff. PWHL.
Yeah, that's why I went to her, because I know she had done a bunch of the U18 women's as well.
Yep.
So to me, there she is, and again, because she brings it personality wise, and has such a good back, her history,
100%.
Her experience is so vast.
Yeah.
That she has to me, she brings it, and so.
Well, and it's not just that, right? Like, you're so right, but like, it's so hard for a lot of these players to then also have the personality and the delivery. And I'm not sure I've ever seen anyone as quick as Cheryl Pounder pick it up, right? And just be like, no, here's my opinion, here's my take, and it's coming with personality and some context and confidence.
And she's just expanded since she started.
Yes.
Like, you can see the growth of her personality and everything as it sort of explodes on air.
So it'll be Kenzie Lalonde this week. It'll be Cheryl Pounder next week. And I also, Rob, I know you're pumped for this, man.
Woo-hoo, wrestling.
Next weekend is the Royal Rumble. So we will have our buddy Kevin Mickey from Sportsnet on the podcast on Thursday morning. We'll
Big
talk
meaty men slapping
meat, man. That's what they do. I wish I had not deleted that button from the system.
How did you delete that button?
we just weren't using that button all that often.
Because honestly, that guy,
big meaty men slapping meat. Like that's what I want to watch.
I've never met him.
Yeah.
but he just looks, you listen to that, he looks sweaty face. And like he's super excited to see these big, beefy men slapping meat. Like it just.
Yeah. So Kevin Mickey of Sportsnet, we'll talk about whatever's in the sporting news. We'll talk about WWE Royal Rumble next weekend, and we will also talk to him. He's actually got himself a gig at PWHL Toronto as one of the in-house hosts that they've got going on down there at Mattamy. So Kevin Mickey all over the place. He'll be here later this week as well.
Matt's a busy man.
It's going to be a busy week on the podcast, Matt. It's going to be fun. We had a couple things sent to us over the last week or so because of the we played a clip. Was it last week or the week before of the guy in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League?
Manitoba.
Look at that.
That guy?
He's gorgeous.
Yeah, we love that guy. But we got a clip sent to us by our buddy Steve McLean, who had picked one up.
Fanboys?
Yes, the OHL fanboys formerly, and now he has sent us this one. This is from the Nova Scotia Junior Hockey League. This is a guy who has made himself famous this week.
Is Pictou in this game?
Pictou? No, I don't think. I actually have no idea who's playing.
Right.
But this is a fantastic call. Glad our buddy Steve sent it to us. Let's see what that guy had going on.
Pulls it back there, and now Murphy. Murphy throws the pass across. And that puck's going to go out of play here, and that's going to do it for that sequence right there. 9:25 left. I apologize if I just damaged your eardrums there. It went right over the mesh, right over my head. So I apologize for that. I'm sorry. Everyone's few people look at me. I'm fine. I'm fine. Oh my God! I apologize for that one right there, and for saying "oh my God," I shouldn't be saying that. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm just trying to catch my breath here. All right.
So, puck over glass, over his head, had him pretty panicked.
Like somebody let a tarantula loose on the board, or
the thing for me is like, listen to how many times he can scream. What kind of muffin is it coming over the glass that you have time to scream that many times before it actually goes by you?
In baseball, they call that a can of corn. Right? Like that's looping. And it's over me. That almost hit me.
And the best part to me is how he collects himself. I was like, 9:25 less than the...
And that puck's going to go out of play here, and that's going to do it for that sequence right there. 9:25 left.
Yeah, and then you can
we heard you, buddy. Like, you can't just sweep that under the rug.
Well, but then also he's like,
yeah.
There's a big exhale.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah, and there's an exhale, and it's like he's going to take a knee. He's like,
yeah.
Okay, we're good. We're good. Yeah. That's not the guy you want in the foxhole when shit goes live.
That's not the guy you want with you if his appetizer order goes wrong, right?
Well, I thought, you know what I thought?
Yeah.
Okay. He spilt the coffee in his lap, like a hot coffee.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
He has just been, it's been like, oh my. Yeah, like.
All right, I like that.
He's being electrocuted. I have no idea. Like he's got
stuck a knife to his neck.
He's got 1 foot in a bucket of water and he's touched a live wire. Like that's what that sounds like.
So that comes from the Nova Scotia Junior Hockey League and our buddy Steve McLean. Thank you for passing
and boom.
And this has now become a thing. Yeah, exactly. This has now become a thing. I think people understanding that we enjoy botched calls.
Look at that.
Yeah. You got to go a long way to beat that guy. Slipping it up in there.
Yeah, exactly. So, thank you to Steve McLean for sending that one in here. I want to start off here. This week, 47 years ago.
Oof, 47.
Yeah, doing some math.
Before 77?
Yeah. This week, 47 years ago, the Toronto Blue Jays unveiled their first ever schedule. Exhibition Stadium.
Oh, love it. Snow in.
Did you ever see a game there?
I did.
Okay, see, obviously I never. 89.
I had to get some skin graft work because I was sitting on those
frostbite ass.
No, it was the opposite.
Oh, it's 1,000 degrees.
It was like one of those end of school in grade 8. We're out there and taking buses down, and we're out there, and it's super hot on those aluminum benches. You're like, oh, whatever sound that guy made. That was my grade 8 ass sitting on the right field bleachers. Yes. No, I was really trying to impress a girl there that day, so probably kept it under wraps. But
so this is the 80s. You're wearing uncomfortably short shorts when you're sitting down. Yeah.
No, but I'm probably wearing rugger pants that are snug in the ass and balls area. Probably.
Yeah. So 77, they unveil their. This is the week where they unveil their first ever schedule, first ever season in major leagues for the Toronto Blue Jays. Would you like to take a stab at the price of a ticket in the outfield?
Where I was
general admission, outfield, and price of a ticket infield for that first season.
77. I'm going to say outfield $5.
And infield?
Behind the plate, kind of ish.
Yep.
I'm going to go with a fine $26.
You are overpaying on both fronts.
Really?
$2.
$1.20 was the first thing that came into my mind, but I'm like, that's crazy.
$2 to sit general admission outfield at Exhibition Stadium.
Wow.
$6.50. And what it says here.
$6.50.
What it says here is infield chair. So like, have they set up chairs kind of in front of the stand? Because like Exhibition Stadium, it's just bleachers, right? Like that's Or are there actual seats like we would recognize? $6.50 for the
seats in behind, I believe, but the vast majority were those big, long.
Yeah, like you may sit way out in right or left field, like because it's lined up for a football stadium, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
No.
So,
wow.
Yeah, $6.50. All of the April games in 1977, Major League Baseball has committed to playing those at 1:30 p.m. because that's as warm as we can promise you, right?
Yeah,
all your home games in
sure.
April. Exhibition Stadium, the wind whipping in off the lake there. Any estimate? Would you like to? I've given you that it's $6.50 for an infield chair at a home game. Would you like to take a stab at what an infield season ticket was worth in season 1 of Toronto Blue Jays history here?
$400.
$5.50.
I was just doing the quick math.
Yeah.
5, a little reduct, a little.
Sure. Yeah, because you overshot it on the first one.
A little discount, $5 for that 650 seat times 80.
Yeah.
$400.
$550 gets you a season ticket in the
Seems like that would be steep.
I guess so.
In comparison now to, you're like, well, I'm paying $650 a seat.
Well, so let's do in comparison to, in 2024, we're getting ready to unveil this new infield premium seating, all the things that were supposed to justify a big offseason. We had Nick Ashbourne on the podcast last week as well to talk about what he thought of the Jays offseason so far. Spoiler. He doesn't think much of it.
Well, not much has happened.
Yeah, exactly. So would recommend that one as well up on the Talkane audio feed or at talkaneaudio.com. How many games in the infield in 2024 does $550 get you figure? Because we haven't seen the ticket prices yet for these club seats.
In the infield?
Yeah, these new...
$550 is going to get me three games.
I'm thinking it's got to be closer to like a game and a half.
Okay.
And again, these are guesses. We haven't seen the pricing.
I was thinking 140. 140 a seat.
Yeah, I bet you it's more. Like,
well, if they're talking 300 bones, forget it.
So this, and we're not the Yankees, but when they opened up the new Yankee Stadium to sit first row behind the dugout was $2,600 a game. So it wouldn't shock me if the Jays were at $450, $500. Like you could justify that to yourself going, well, look what a discount we're giving you compared to.
Yeah, well, then they better have brought in Shohei.
They better have done a lot of things that aren't Jorge Soler.
Yeah.
Or welcome back, Kevin
Rodriguez.
Right, Kevin Kiermaier. Welcome back, buddy.
I don't know. Wow. Yeah, we'll wait and we'll see.
We will.
Man, I was thinking, those seats just out beyond sort of first base. I'm like, it's got to be, if you're redoing all those, $150. Like, that's even a lot of money.
Yeah, of course.
You're selling 81 games.
Right. At $150 a pop. Man.
That's what baseball has always sort of, it's been a more affordable ticket because there's so many games.
Yes.
And you go, I can't outlay, you can't expect me to lay down $70
Right.
for 80 games.
It was like $9 to sit in the 500s, right? And even those are now like 65.
Yeah. I'm never going to another Jays game in the 500s unless I'm out in the outfield up in a bar or,
in the park there in left field,
exactly.
playing with the kids.
Yeah,
and
it's on the teeter-totter.
Don't get on the teeter-totter with
How
Rob.
many?
He's going to be that guy.
Yeah,
who
how
gets
many
off.
kids can get on the other end of that before Rob gets up and wham? If my kids are listening, you know what I'm talking about.
Of course. They're not.
No, they're not.
We've heard Dad preach enough times.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
All right. Over the weekend, speaking of people who don't know what they're talking about, Lou Lamoriello hired himself a new
Good Lord.
new head coach. Let go Lane Lambert, who was supposed to be one of these next up-and-coming kind of
Barry
head coaches.
Trotz light.
Yep, that's right. Didn't pan out. The Isles have been, I guess it depends what you thought their potential was, right? Like, Lou's also traded away Devin Taves for 2 second-round picks. He's brought back Anders Lee. He's been willing to do the Zach Parise thing. He gave
Bo Horvat.
Pierre Engvall 7 years.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's
They
all about.
call him the antelope or whatever the hell
The
they
giraffe. And if you take one look at the guy, you go, yeah, okay, I get it. Your ridiculous neck. They hire Patrick Waugh as their new head coach. He hasn't coached in the league in almost a decade. I think it was 2013 to 2015 that he coached the Avalanche. I got to be honest with you, his record was better than I thought it was. I went back, he's somewhere in the neighborhood like 130, 90, and 8 or something like that. Like that's pretty respectable for a team that at that point wasn't yet anywhere near what they are now.
it was when he left and Bednar came in that they did the big
bottom out
nosedive.
But Colorado also suffered because he didn't get fired. He didn't leave at the end of the season. He left like the week before training camp started.
Like late August, early September.
Yeah, and kind of buried them.
Peace.
But I was sort of, even then, thinking like, good riddance? Like, you're not that good. But his records.
Bad rubbish.
Yeah. Rubbish, Ronnie Garbage.
Yeah, there you go.
Look, when I look back at his record now and see what they've hired, and I guess this is only relevant because I've sort of, Graham Nichols has been on here and a couple other people have been on here suggesting that maybe Patrick Waugh would be a good fit for the Sens, and I've scoffed at it every time.
I don't want it.
I think you're probably right. His record is better than I thought it was. That's still not the personality that I would want running my franchise, but Lou Lamoriello has gone out and signed him to take over for Lane Lambert. I'm not sure the Isles are significantly better than the way they've played thus far, but obviously he thinks they are and need a new coach to kind of get it going. What did you make of it?
Well, and the problem first and foremost is the Lou construction of that lineup. They got Sorokin and a nice backup in Varlamov, which mask a lot
100%
of their problems. And what they've gone by in the Trotz years especially, and into, as I said, Lane Lambert has sort of followed Trotz around. He's been Trotz's guy. And so when Lou, for whatever reason, fired Barry Trotz, he just promoted Trotz's guy.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yep.
But you know what the hallmarks of a Trotz Lambert team are. It's
pin it down
100%. And if you look at it, that team has never scored the way you would hope it is, and they are a minus 21 in the goals for and against.
Yeah.
Right? They are it's like 135, 156 allowed. Right? They are a minus 21, and they've gone 2-6-2, I believe, in their last 10. Because this is a team I believe that is 2 points behind Toronto. Like they are.
Oof! Don't make that your measuring stick.
No. I'm just saying Toronto is in a wild card spot.
Yes. Yeah.
And
the Isles are by no means out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they have not played well, but I'm not sure Lou's construction, and you've pointed it out, right? He's kind of weirdly cashed in a bunch of things and traded pieces out for a team that is by nobody's estimation
Well, I guess, like, are you running... Like, Barzal is a good player, but probably not the superstar we thought he might be. Is Pajot your 2 or your 3? Like, what are you doing?
He's a $5 million or $5.5 million
He would be an
center.
elite third-line center, but if you got to run him out at 2, you're in trouble, right?
100%.
Like, these sorts of things, you look at that lineup, as you pointed out, the goaltending they have has, for a long time, covered up some issues, and you go, yeah, but they've made, I think, 2 different conference finals in the last 5 years.
Under Trotz.
Yeah.
Not under Lambert.
No, that's right. But you go, okay, like, did that kind of paint over?
Of course it did.
Yeah.
And so I was really trying to paint the story before we now look at what you're hoping to do with a new coach. So, yeah, clearly they are, and honestly, they are a team with like 10 overtime or shootout losses. Like, they're one of those teams that has
kind of like Calgary a couple years ago.
Managed to make its way in and
keep it tight.
And got loser points.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And so their record is not sterling. So you're bringing in Roy. What are you bringing him in for? What are you hoping that guy brings you?
Fire, I guess. Enthusiasm.
And see, this is a guy who's had great success at the junior level, right? You can't...
Well, Scott Wheeler, and I know a lot of Sens fans don't like to hear about Scott Wheeler, but he is one of the preeminent...
Only because he shits on...
Yeah, he does do that. Well, and their prospects, yeah. But he is one of the guys who covers junior hockey as close as anybody in Canadian media at this point. And he pointed out a couple different times, last year's Quebec Ramparts were about the most structured junior program he's ever seen in terms of the way they played, their PK, like things like that. Patrick Roy has done something there. And as I pointed out, I kind of poo-pooed it as like, yeah, but he's had a crack at the NHL and it didn't work. But it did work. When I looked at his record, I was honestly shocked at how good Colorado's record was under Patrick Roy. So,
what's your takeaway from Patrick Roy besides the record? You didn't have any recollection of the record.
Yeah.
But then what is your
chaos? Chaos. Like, just lipping off, wanting control because they have
wanting more control.
Yeah, Sakic and McFarland out there in Colorado. Patrick Roy was not going to be the guy. I always think of the.
He's pushing the glass.
That's exactly the thing.
The Ducks are pushing
and they're pushing
it back.
Yeah, like, okay. Maybe chaos is overstating it, but like just attention where there didn't need to be attention, leaving a week before training camp, just like, I don't need that in my organization. And yet Lou Lamoriello, maybe the most pinned down traditional GM, that reached out and goes, yeah, that's my guy. And my first question was, is he going to obey Lou's facial hair rule? And
he has to, or he's going to end up with Jimmy Hoffa in the Meadowlands. So that's going to happen.
Or just you don't sign. But yeah, on Sunday there he was at practice, clean shaven. Lou Lamoriello telling Patrick Watt, he's got to be 55 years old, 50 years old.
He's got to be 60.
Shave that beard.
He was playing in 86.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's got.
No, you're right.
Anyways, to me, I think of Patrick Waugh. I think of him flaming Matt Duchene when he scored his 30th goal of the season.
Yeah.
And, Duchene's happy for himself. He's like, woo, 30 goals in the NHL.
Pretty good.
And afterwards,
your coach says you stink.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know what you're celebrating. You just lost 5-1. Dutchy, I don't know what you're out there doing. He's telling So that's the one thing I think of. And the other thing I think of is he was the pioneer of the early pull.
Like 3.5, 4 minutes left.
Exactly.
You're down by 2, pull the goalie.
And so to me, those are the things.
But that's caught on.
Oh, for sure it has.
Yeah.
Man, the other night, the Ottawa-Montreal game.
Yeah.
Christ, they're down 5-1. They pulled the goalie with 7.5 minutes to go.
That's a little silly, I think. But like even on Saturday night, Leafs were down 2, pulled Jones with like 3.5 to go. And you go, like that's pretty normal now, right? Down by 2, you got to get that early pull and go for it.
Yep.
So
the thing is, to me, he is...
5-1. Just let it go.
Yeah. I saw a bit of his presser, right, where somebody asked him about his departure from Colorado, and he said all the right things.
Yeah. What are you going to say? Right?
I should have handled that better.
Yeah.
I could have handled it differently. I think the reality is a leopard never loses its...
Patrick's always been a hothead, right? Like,
and you're talking about a guy who, it's fine, as per the Wheeler discussion, you can run an organized junior bench when you still control all these kids' fates in your hands as a junior GM and coach.
Yeah, as soon as a $9 million guy looks and goes, yeah, no, fuck off. I'm not doing
bent.
that. Yeah.
Get bent, old man. Right. Like it's and so he maybe comes in and he's minding his P's and Q's and on his best behavior. It's only a matter of time before that guy becomes the show, and that guy and Lou,
against Lou, yeah,
that thing blows
that's
up.
not going to work.
It's not going to work. And of all
The
the
relationship,
places, of all the places, he needed to go to some place because when he wanted more control in Colorado.
Yeah.
He went back to junior
Yeah.
because he had all the control, all the say. And he's ended up in a place now where you have probably the least amount of say.
Yes.
It's unless he's there to rehabilitate image, it's not going to go well. If it goes well, then you've sort of said, okay, I'm willing to just be the coach.
Yeah.
Or I'm willing to give up my aspirations of being.
Well, the beard shave, like I know it seems like a silly thing, but he caved on that. Like when was the last time you saw Patrick Waugh clean shaven? He's obviously bowed to lose.
Certainly wasn't at the Arby's out by Canada, the arena when he was here.
Everybody keeps posting
the curly fry.
The GIF today of like a quote, like, yeah, Lou, I'll do whatever you want. And then that old footage of him, the camera zoomed in and him winking, right?
Yeah. Well, and it is one of those things, it's way easier to apologize than to ask for permission.
100%.
And so to me, I looked at it and went, oh, that's terrible. Like of all the places to go, it's the worst. How badly, if you're Patrick Waugh, do you want to get back in?
Well, and Lou said in his private, that's the only guy I spoke to. Patrick was the only guy. Like, you had so much interest in fixing things that you interviewed one person.
Yeah.
This is not the statement you think it is. When you talk about, there's that old phrase online that
you question Lou.
The 200 hockey men, right, that just get cycled through every organization in 100 different positions. Like, yeah, no, I only wanted to talk to one guy. I'm like, well, then you're not doing your job. Like, this is not the confidence thing that you think it is. This is not the statement.
There was one man for the job, is what he's saying.
I guess. That's a terrible approach. That's a bad way to run an organization. Like, even if you interview 3, 4, 5 other guys for no other reason than to go, what would you do with our core or with our PK? Like, you pick some brains, right? In the interview, you get a different perspective.
Right.
He didn't want it. He was like, no, that's my guy. I'm like,
well, and they always say it's a great opportunity for people in other organizations if you can interview people from other organizations at this time of year. But it's a good idea. It's a prime opportunity for people from outside to give you their perspective.
That's right.
On what's up. So if you can get a very
passed on that.
Yeah. But again, if you tell me another organization in the league,
we'd have less control.
Yeah, or that's run as rigidly and as micromanaged as the New York Devils.
The New York Devils.
Yeah, no, I said that on purpose.
I know.
But as Lou's Islanders,
I see what you're doing. Yeah.
Who is?
Because in the conference call, Patrick said the only thing we did not agree on when going through the interview process was to talk about the 2001 Stanley Cup, which was Lou's Devils versus Patrick's Avalanche. Is there anyone as closely held? Probably not. Like, I'm trying to think of, most teams seem to let their coaches do their thing to varying degrees, but I don't know that anybody holds it as tight as Lou. Like, I'm honestly, I'm running through them in my head going, I can't think of it.
Because there isn't in
Probably
2024.
Probably not.
And that's where, for better or for worse, when you look at Lou and there's
like Tampa was the one I wanted to, but that's not the GM holding it. That's the coach. That's John Cooper holding it tight. Like that's him running that show. I think
from ownership down through Brisbois and everything, I think Tampa's shown it.
They're going to let Cooper do his thing.
Let Cooper do the coaching. Let Brisbois do the GM thing.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And so to me, it's don't confuse excellence and achievement with.
No, but it's well known to be a very tight run ship. But that's for the players that comes from Cooper. That does not come from the GM down through the coach.
But if you look at the Yzerman Brisbois era, it's been well run. It's been done professionally, and it's been supported by the owner in quiet. And you're like, that's just excellent.
That's how it should go. Yeah.
Whereas I think it's almost universally accepted that Lou has probably passed his prime.
Yes,
and he's holding on.
There has been in the last 6-8 months talk that Shanahan in Toronto
is bringing Lou back.
Well, I hesitated to bring it up because I'm not trying to make everything about the Leafs, but like when Dubas left, it was because Shanahan and him weren't getting along, and then they go and bring Treliving, and he apparently before Treliving was even hired, told the Big Four, yeah, you're all coming back. So maybe that would be the one where management is from up high telling you.
Right, where Shanahan is
pulling the strings quietly. Yeah. Maybe that would be the closest. I don't know.
Well, and a guy, I think, anyways.
It hasn't gone well.
No, and that's you're talking about a guy who had no experience as well.
Mm-hmm. I remember saying that back at the time. And look, obviously the Leaf, whatever. We can or cannot get into the Leafs later.
Yep.
Speaking of Patrick Waugh, though, over the last week we saw
just a second.
Okay.
Over under year and a half on his length as coach.
Yeah, over.
You think he's going to last past a year and a half?
Yeah. Well, because I think Lou probably keels over before then.
Okay, but then Lou's kid, whatever he's.
Yeah, that's right.
Punt him. Forget it. You killed my dad.
You killed my dad. Yeah, I said this. I think I said it when he signed the Engvall contract, 7 years, that contract would outlive Lou. I'm not trying to kill people off on the podcast, but when you're 80 some odd years old and you sign 7-year deals, there's a reasonable possibility that contract outlives you. So
Lou has got that good spackle look, though.
Spackle.
He's got it's shiny. It's solid looking.
Do you think Patrick Waugh might not make a year and a half? Like, obviously, he's got the rest of this year, so that's half done.
Yeah, a year and a half seems tight. Yeah.
Yeah. Like maybe they fire him at the end of next year, but that would be your year and a half.
So you're taking the over.
I'm taking the over. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I think you're probably right because it starts to look a little. But yeah, if I am going to say under.
Okay.
I am saying he will not make it past the end of next year.
All right.
I feel strongly.
I'm getting that.
Sort of.
Yeah. Wavering your way in here.
I'm waving.
Yeah. Speaking of Patrick Waugh, though, we saw over the last week or so, Marc-Andre Fleury pass him for second in all-time wins.
Before passing out because he got run by some fourth-line
guy.
Douche.
Okay. Don't remember that. Not familiar with that.
It's knocked Fleury out. I'm trying to think of the guy who just had a hearing.
Yep.
Anyways.
All right.
Clearly you're missing it. And
I don't have it.
Okay. He's out. Fleury.
552 wins in, I believe it's about 1,008 games, I believe was the number that it took him to get it done. He passes Patrick Waugh for second all-time. Patrick Waugh, 551 wins in 1,044 games. So he actually gets it done in less time. Now, the thing you would throw into the mix here is that Patrick Waugh played in the era of ties, and so Marc-Andre Fleury never had to deal with that. He would either win or lose those games. Most of his career was spent on good teams, so let's call it, because I haven't done the research, roughly 60% of the overtimes or shootouts he would win. So that helps him get there. But I went and looked at this because you brought up in a text message last night when I was sending out a couple of potential topics, the fact that I had said I'm not certain he's a Hall of Famer. And I do have a vague memory of saying that. I don't remember exactly when. I know it was after he got the 2 more cups in Pittsburgh, maybe around when he went to Vegas. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, it was like a year and a half ago.
Okay, so a little after the Vegas thing.
Yep.
He has 3 cups and a Vezina. When I was doing the research on this, I didn't remember him having a Vezina, but that was like 2021. Like, it was pretty recently for him to get it done.
In Vegas.
Yeah. And he absolutely is the guy.
And Olympic gold as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, man. If you're going to count those second 2 cups.
And that's what I was going to lay out here before letting you weigh in. But yeah, he's got an Olympic gold medal as the third guy who never played a game. He wins the cup as the 09 starter.
Yep.
In 16-17, he helps them win it, but he is replaced in both years by Matt Murray.
And the reality is in 17, if he stayed in, they don't beat Ottawa.
I'll take your word for
He was getting.
I don't remember following that.
It
was midway through that series.
They pulled him to put Murray back in.
Right.
And it was at that point that Murray stabilized the goaltending for Pittsburgh.
Right.
And beat Ottawa. I firmly believe anybody who followed that series.
Yeah.
They play Fleury for that full 7. They don't win. Pittsburgh doesn't win.
Oh, well, go 7 into overtime. So, yeah, not a lot of room for error.
Yeah, but to me, he was, he'd sort of
So 3 cups, but only one where you would say, like, he is the starter. He is the guy. He is the one who got it.
But he also had that 08 against Detroit.
Yeah,
where they
took them to a final.
And they lost. Like, he is...
So I went and I looked at some numbers here because before we dive into any of that, does Marc-Andre Fleury feel like a guy to you? And sometimes that's as much as it's about when you talk about the Hall of Fame or this, ladder of greatness. Does Marc-Andre Fleury to you feel like the second best goalie of all time?
Not a chance.
No.
Not even probably a top 10.
Yeah. And yet,
but is he a Hall of Famer? Slam dunk.
Yeah.
That's a nice stout, though. Am I right?
I know. I thought you'd cover for me a little bit because it's a tasty stout. I had to get another sip on.
We like the sound of you swallowing. That was awesome. I hope that stays in the show. But no, he is a slam dunk Hall of Famer, but I don't think he's a top 10 goalie in NHL history.
Just on a brief side note here, because I did go off down the rabbit hole looking at this. The top 12 winningest goalies of all time are in the Hall of Fame now. No, I'm not going to ask you to name them all.
Okay.
No. 10 of them are already in the Hall of Fame. Marc-Andre Fleury is number 11. Like, he will be in the Hall of Fame, but can't be now because he's still competing. Who is the one in the top 12 who isn't in?
Is it Mike Richter?
It is not Mike Richter. I don't know if Mike Richter's in it or not, but he's not the guy we're looking for here.
Top 12. In the top 12.
There are, out of the 12 winningest goalies of all time, only one, not including Fleury, who isn't eligible yet, is not in the Hall of Fame.
Luongo just went in?
Yep.
Can you give me an era?
I can give you an era. It is early 90s through kind of 09, 2010. But I followed this guy most through the late 90s, early 2000s.
Cujo.
Yes, it is Cujo. Curtis Joseph has 454 wins, 350 some odd losses, and is not in the Hall of Fame.
Not a Hall of Famer, in my opinion.
I kind of feel like that too. Like, as you know, like, that might be my favorite player ever. And when he was hot, like playing for the Blues and for a couple years there for the Leafs, like, fantastic.
Oilers,
he was like eliminated the Stars the year before they won the Cup in that crazy.
Those were epic playoffs.
Unbelievable, man. Yeah. The Todd Marchand.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ryan Smith.
All of it, man. And so, but I'm sort of with you because I guess you're looking at like 94 through 02 elite, and then he hung around till like 2010 and. Like, he's got a career save percentage right around 900. And when I watched him, I'm like, that is not possible. Yeah. But he also started in that still high-scoring era, finished as not being very good. Like, he never regained it after leaving Toronto. He was in the minors for a while with the Red Wings, and he was a Coyote and a Flame backup. And
when he was one of those guys, and you see them occasionally who if I'm facing 50 shots a night, that's where I'm at my best.
Yeah.
If I'm behind, like when he came to Detroit and he was behind a fairly professional,
you get 19 shots
score,
against a night,
and you're like, oh, stinkers,
right?
Stinkers.
That's right.
A couple groaners. So he was a guy who was like, I'm better as an underdog.
Yeah. Well, and you saw that a little bit, I think.
When he played for Team Canada.
Thank you. Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to say. The couple times he was on the national team with the 96 World Cup, the 02 Olympics, couldn't get it done. And you needed a guy more like Brodeur, right, who was used to playing behind elite defensive. I'm probably not going to get tested all that often. And this is not a rip on Brodeur. It's a different style of game.
Of course it is.
Yeah. So
that is a hard thing to manage, to be prepared when you haven't seen a lot of action.
Right. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting. To get back to Fleury, I looked at the numbers between him and Waugh, because in my head, my perception is that Fleury just played a really long time on some good teams, kind of like the Mark Recchi of goalies.
Ooh, damning in Matt's eyes.
It
damning.
Really, really is. And I went and researched this before we started the show today. There's nothing I can hang my hat on. There's no part of this that is correct. If you look at Waugh, you could say, because he started in the mid-'80s, the first 10 years or so of his career was still that high-scoring era, which would damage his save percentage a little bit. But then he also got to play through the dead puck era, right, of 95 to 04, which is when he retired. You could look at that. It was actually 03 when he retired. The Minnesota Wild hung one on him before that killer Western Conference final of Anaheim Ducks, Minnesota Wild 2003. Two teams trying to trap each other into oblivion.
Yeah.
Terrible. But I was like, Patrick Waugh has to just be a guy who played for less time, was way better, and Fleury has racked up stats behind better teams. I can't find anything there that backs that up, other than, like I said, the ties versus shootout wins.
Yeah.
Just is Fleury's save percentage 2 points higher than Patrick Waugh's? Like, everything about it, you just go, yeah, no, like, this guy is legit, other than the two cups where he's backing up sort of hurt your reputation, but didn't hurt his numbers.
If you look at...
Especially when you do it in 50 less games or 40 less games.
Nobody... I don't know how many people you'd have to pull before...
Yeah, I got one game to win tomorrow.
Yeah. Who you taking?
Yeah. Prime Waugh, prime Fleury. Yeah.
Correct. How about 1993
right.
Patrick Waugh? Yeah. Like the 86 Cup and the 93 Cup?
Yeah.
Get on my back. Like, to me, the 93 one especially, when you have 10 overtime wins,
yes.
If your goalie is not elite,
yeah,
it doesn't happen, right? And so, to me, the two cups in Colorado are awesome, right? 4 cups, all as a starter.
Yep.
At least a couple Conn Smythes.
Mm-hmm.
And you just sort of, whereas Fleury was never a Conn Smythe.
Just steady or just...
Yeah, nobody would ever, if you want to use your Mark Recchi theory, would you ever say that Fleury was the best goalie of a 5-year period?
No, I don't think so, because the other guy that I tried to measure against going, okay, Patrick Waugh's hard because it was that era he started in where it was still really high scoring and then the dead puck. So who can I find that was like pillar to post, same era? And I went with Lundqvist. And Fleury's right there, like within 2 points of Lundqvist, who I would have at multiple times said is the best goalie in the league. And he's right there within 2 points on save percentage. Now, he does finish with...
has as many Olympic goals as Lundqvist.
Yeah, okay. That's a weird place that you're trying to hang this, but yeah.
But 3 more cups.
Yeah, but also, like, he played 200 more games than Lundqvist and has finished with about 100 more wins. Now, was Lundqvist on at, like, the Rangers went through some tough years, right? Whereas...
But in the teens, they were consistently pretty good.
But again, like, when you go, if I got one game to win tomorrow, who do you want, Lundqvist or Fleury? I want Lundqvist. So...
I don't know. And it's completely anecdotal.
I'm surprised by that, to be honest with you. And this is just feel.
Yeah, just the playoffs. Yeah. In terms of a guy who they got to a cup final with Lundqvist.
Yeah, but those teams were never had Crosby and Malkin or like.
Yeah, but neither did St. Louis.
Jordan Binnington. Have we gotten him to the conversation?
But no, I'm saying who do they have up front?
Yeah. No, okay.
They didn't have a superstar either.
No, you're right.
That's not going to prohibit you from winning a cup.
Yeah. I just it doesn't feel to me anywhere close to Marc-Andre Fleury being the second best goalie of all time. Has the second most wins, played for a long time, played on good teams.
But he played those early Penguins teams when he was the first overall pick.
When you and I both big World Junior guys, 03, how great he was. Yeah,
whatever that was.
It was the 03 tournament, I believe, with the golden pad, or it was 04. The Patrick O'Sullivan, the yellow pads.
Well, see, that was I was at the 03 ones in Halifax, where he was there.
Yeah.
With a pretty shitty team in front of him. To be honest with you.
It was 04.
A troika of Leaf draft pick defensemen.
Oh, man. There was so many
Koliakovo,
Brendan Bell. Yes.
And Ian White.
And Jay Harrison.
Look at this.
There was a bunch of Leafs on that. Matt Stajan was on that team.
Yeah, that team was...
That World Junior team painted the picture of the next 8 years of Leafs hockey.
Derek Roy, Jordan Tutu, and Marc-Andre Fleury.
Kyle Wellwood.
A
lot of Leafs, man. A lot of Leafs.
So to me, that's a team where
hoping Easton Cowan and Fraser Minton or not.
Yeah, no. And so that was the problem with this World Junior, right? Anytime you're pinning all your hopes on potential Leaf draft.
They'll get it done in the important rounds. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no.
Oh no.
But yeah, Tutu and Fleury were the
story.
The absolute stars of that World Junior team. And so, yes, the next year in Finland, Russia, wherever that was, where they lost to the Americans.
Yeah.
The Patrick O'Sullivan.
Yep.
Yeah, living in Canada, playing Canadian Junior, whatever his deal was. Damn you.
No, it's true. So it's just interesting to have the debate. Where does he feel like he fits, right? I don't think anybody thinks he's the second best goalie of all time, but he obviously is going to be a Hall of Famer. I don't know how many of our current listeners were around. We had that conversation the first time. I was out to lunch when I said he was. It didn't feel like. Sometimes it's just that gut
and
feel.
That's what it was. You had said, he's not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And then I hit you with a couple of stats, and you're like,
yeah, or
maybe he is.
Maybe. Yeah.
Right? It's just one of those things where you go, my feel is no.
I think the Hall of Fame in most sports should be more about that. Like, and look, you can't establish a Hall of Fame that way. There's got to be voting.
Okay, but at the end of the day,
sitting here now, yes.
Oh, a slam dunk.
Yes.
And as I said, you're going to leave the, his 2010 Olympic gold on the shelf, but you are talking about.
Absolutely am. A Vezina,
three
cups.
goals, a Vezina, 3 goals, 3 cups,
3 cups of Vezina.
Second all time.
A couple of Jennings.
And yeah, there you go. And honestly, it's between like Vasilevsky and Hellebuck are like the two closest guys to him active, and they're 200, 300 wins behind.
Yeah, but it's when you come in, right? Like, and that's why I went to Longquist. That's why I went to.
No, and I'm just saying these are guys.
Price is in that era.
In Hellebuck and Vasilevsky, they're 29 and 30, I believe. The stat was.
Yeah.
But they are in an era where you're going to play 55 games. They're never catching him.
So I'm going to hit you with some names here just because I think it'll be interesting. Yes or no, you're starting Fleury ahead of these guys.
All right,
in an international, it doesn't even have to be internet, like one game take all. You're starting Fleury, yes or no, ahead of Carey Price.
No.
Henrik Lundqvist.
Yep.
Vasilevsky.
No.
Okay. Shesterkin.
Yep.
Sorokin.
No. In their prime.
Yeah. At all of their best.
No, I'm taking Fleury over Sorokin.
Luongo.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Fleury.
Waugh.
No.
And Brodeur.
No.
Yeah. So, but that's the class he's in, right?
Yep.
Like they're interesting debates.
And there's no shame.
No, of course not.
In that.
These are the elite of the elite.
100%.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to look around going, and it's funny because as you're throwing names at me, I'm going, the name that comes and you go, Brodeur, I think of Team Canada. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. But you say Shesterkin, and I'm like NHL. Or Vasilevsky, I'm thinking NHL.
Because it's what we've seen.
It's right? My shifting criteria of where. When
well, it's all I have to judge them on. Those guys haven't got to do it, right? At the international level.
And so
there's Fleury, frankly.
Yeah,
so.
But you said Vasilevsky, and I said I'm starting Vasilevsky first, and you said, and you kind of gave me the.
Oh, so I may have missed. I would go with Vasilevsky over Fleury.
Okay, no, I said yeah. Sorry, I was absolutely. I'm starting Vasilevsky over Fleury.
Yeah, all these guys at their prime. There's not many of those guys that I'm not starting ahead of Fleury.
Yeah, a Hall of Famer, just not.
And longevity counts. Like, it's worth something.
Of course,
to be good for a long time.
And you know what doesn't also hurt a guy? He is a top 3 personality.
Yes, true story.
Everyone says he's an all-around good guy, crazy toothy grin, much like Matt Robinson. Definitely back to the beginning of the show.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yes, but it doesn't help. It doesn't hurt your cause
to be likable
when you have good stats and you are a highly likable guy.
That's how it goes, man. This is why Barry Bonds will never get into the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Matt has built his podcast empire.
We'll take a quick break here. We got a new.
Thank God.
Yeah, new pint to find, a urinal to find, and we'll be back in a second.
Scramble draw comes to the point. Rafalski shoots.
knocked down in the man, scramble. Lidstrom shoots it, a tremendous save by Fleury. They've done it. The Penguins have done it. Sidney Crosby and the Penguins have won the Stanley Cup. Nick Lidstrom had the tie on his stick.
And with every ounce of energy, Fleury throws his body across and somehow makes the save.
All right, let's bring it back in here. And I just said to you in the green room there, I'm not sure if it's just talking too much or whatever. Hadn't quite finished the stout, but I did enjoy this stout. Like, really nice.
I was finished it about 15 minutes ago.
All right. That means clearly I have been talking more than you, which is unusual.
But we did listen to you swallow there quite, like right on the mic. There was
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Gulping and...
Yeah.
Anyways.
God damn it. If that hadn't happened on top of each other, could have edited one out.
Nope. You gotta keep that.
This show sucks. Whatever.
Yeah, for sure. It's a beer and sports podcast. If you're offended by that, come on.
What are you doing? Yeah, do you see we get nominated again for the Faces magazine?
I did not see that.
Yeah. Whatever.
Good for us.
Yeah. No, we talked about this last year. It's cool. I appreciate whichever one of you listens to the show who nominated us, but
Steve Bunda.
Yes, definitely not Bunda. When you vote, you have to give your email address. So this is Faces Magazine fishing, right? Getting all your personal info.
Yep.
So what I would say is to whichever one of you nominated us, we love you. We appreciate you. Thank you. To the rest of you, if you want to vote, that's great. But if you don't feel like giving Faces Magazine your email address, we totally get that. We've been nominated for a few of these in the past. The other one was Ottawa Life, I think, which wasn't a phishing scam that didn't require your social insurance number to vote.
Yeah. They said the friends you wish you had.
That's exactly that one meant a lot. This is Faces Magazine is like best orthodontic assistant in Ottawa. Like they do every category.
Best chairs in the orthodontic waiting room. That's us, baby.
That's big, man.
Well, and
Highlights Magazine. Who has the most up-to-date Highlights magazines in
the chair I'm sitting in could be better.
All right, we're working on things here too. This is why we're not going to win this year. What is the next beer that you've brought us here that you've already cracked into?
This is the Single Swinger.
Yeah.
Hazy IPA from Bridgemaster. And my first pull on it is it's certainly juicy. 6.5 coming in at.
Okay.
So Single Swinger.
Oh boy.
I'm not sure if that's an actual bridge reference.
Yeah. Okay.
Single car bridge, swing bridge.
Yeah. Could be.
Or it could be
statement on the Bridge Master.
Or on Matt, as we talked about earlier in the show. See, everything comes back around full, right?
Matt is killing it.
Single swinging bachelor, Matt Robinson.
I'm fine.
Hey, ladies.
Slipping it up in there.
I've always been kind of wondering how these might fit together.
I want me some glory hole.
Oh, look at that!
I don't know. There's something there.
I'm just wondering, eh?
Yeah,
just wondering.
I just sit here sometimes and press the buttons.
Seems like you have a pretty good idea of how those would fit.
It's true, man.
You got a dumb face, and I don't like you.
People won't even know that was a button.
I know that guy.
Yeah, it's true.
See, I didn't even burp through that. That was awesome.
You're a classy dame.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
See, what do you think of that?
Yeah.
What are you getting there?
It's juicy.
And it's a little
front.
pineapple.
Yeah.
What do you?
Yeah, a little bit of that, but it's definitely juicy up front. Juicy is the word I would use.
Honestly,
until I make people.
I don't know why you're puckering your lips like that.
Juicy.
Juicy.
It's juicy.
It's very fluted.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's uncomfortable for sure.
We got just like we talked about off the top. Got another piece of audio, and this one I loved because it comes from our friend Lonnie. Thanks, Lonnie. It's the first time we've ever heard from Lonnie. But what I love about Lonnie is he didn't just send me a link, didn't just send me a video. Lonnie had already clipped the audio himself and sent it to me. No work, no fuss, no muss for Matt.
Oh, Lonnie, you may be on the show here.
Yeah, exactly.
Rob, watch your spot.
We love Lonnie. This comes from...
You sounded like big beefy men slapping meat there.
It's true, man.
You sounded a little sweaty face there with the I love Lonnie.
What do you want me to say, man? I do.
Okay, all right.
This is a guy I'm familiar with mainly from Twitter. His name's Pete Blackburn. I don't know if this comes from the NHL Network or what the show is that he's on when he goes ahead and says.
But the Eastern Conference, in my mind, is wide open. There is not a real standout team, and that's coming from me, a Bruins fan. I'm the biggest Bruins homo. Hobo. Sorry. That is a wild slip by me. I'm so sorry. I'm the biggest Bruins homer and Bobo in the world. So, oh, man, I'm never going to live that one down. That clip is going to hit the internet, and it's going to be...
You're a meme now.
I got to recover here.
I enjoy that one too, man. Clearly didn't mean any harm, but that's never going away for Mr. P. Blackburn.
Well, and no matter how far society moves, and wherever you are on the spectrum, whatever your deal is, we're very open to it. Whatever your deal is.
Sure.
That guy is clearly scurrying from the homo reference. Like, I may be fine with it, but I don't want to be attached to it.
I guess I took it more as like,
and then
I'm just embarrassed, right?
And then he goes with hobo.
Yeah, it's like that's your life raft. No, I'm actually the Bruins hobo.
I'm the biggest Bruins homo. Hobo. Sorry.
Is that better? You're a Bruins hobo?
I got my bindle, my little bindle on a stick, and away we go. Check it out, hobo bindle.
Yeah, I don't know what that's all about. Look, we want to talk about the Sens here in a second. We want to talk about the Leafs here in a second. Maybe we'll get into something. I wanted to run this story by you because I thought this was hilarious. There is a guy who ran a marathon in China. He is I was going to say, of course, it doesn't have to be. He's a Chinese guy. Ran this particular marathon 3 hours, 33 minutes. I know neither one of us.
It's about 17 minutes off my PB.
I was going to say have run a marathon, but obviously Rob just lighting it up.
No, I'm behind that. I'm coming in around 3:49.
So this particular guy, he finishes in 557th place out of 1,004 guys. Solidly in the middle.
Yeah.
Right? 3 hours, 33 minutes.
Creepy middle.
5 hours off of, 5 minutes off of the time that he had 2 years ago. He finishes, like I said, 557th out of over 1,000 people. When he gets to the finish line, they disqualify him. Would you like to take any guess as to why he was disqualified?
He ran across the finish line backwards.
He chain smoked the entire way. The entire track. He's just puffing away, dropping butts, lighting up another one, continuing to run.
Who cares?
Apparently the rules committee, like secondhand smoke is affecting his fellow competitors.
You're running in China somewhere. Anybody who's
the air in general is not
who's
great.
Been there. I came back with the worst nasal infection ever from my time in China. You're worried about the guy in front of you with his pack of darts in the back of his shorts? Like, come on, man.
I gotta say, man, 557th out of 1,000 people while you're... Look, if you can't run a marathon without smoking, you are smoking all the time. Like, your lungs are toast. If this guy finishes middle of the pack while chain smoking the whole way, give him the gold medal. Like
or do you have people with already pre-lit smokes and you're running by them and grabbing them?
Or just lighters held up, you run by with the smoke.
Yeah, because come on, man, you got to know.
Slowing you down to stop and light.
You're just like,
the breeze while you're running would be damaging.
I remember being at 06 Worlds and the Chinese coach wanting to smoke on the bench in the venue. Like, to me, it's totally a cultural thing. They're like, what? I can't smoke here?
Disqualified for chain smoking.
That to me seems...
I think this guy is a better athlete than most of the people who finished ahead of him.
We celebrate Guy Lafleur for his 3 packs a day and smoking in between shifts, right?
Yeah.
We celebrate that in this country, yet in the country with the worst air quality, they're against it for secondhand smoke?
Seems like.
Come on!
As you and I sit here on Sunday afternoon, the Sens have just beaten the...
Metro's second place Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah, that on its own is weird. But they did...
It's now 45 games in.
That's what I'm saying, man. The Canucks, I guess you're real, right? The Flyers, I guess the Caps are still hanging around.
The Canucks, you completely shat upon when they came through back in November, was it?
Yeah.
And the Leafs beat them, and you're like,
mediocre Leafs beat them.
Pretender, douchebags.
I still think they're frauds.
Okay.
Yeah. Why don't we stay on the Sens for now? Because I know how much Ottawa hockey fans love to be diverted to Toronto.
Just in a separate,
let it be noted, it's Rob doing this.
In a quick thing here,
when
we were talking about Lou Lamoriello earlier, and you have old man Rutherford in Vancouver, just getting a
3 year extension.
I thought it was a 3-year extension.
Could be.
A year ago, that place was just a.
I'm not certain it's not still.
Okay, but that's all I'm saying is, and that's it. We don't need to go any further with it.
They got 5 guys in the top 19 shooting percentage. That's never happened before in the NHL.
And we all know that will absolutely regress.
Yeah. But does it happen next week or does it happen next season?
You know who doesn't care?
The Vancouver Canucks.
Rutherford with his
his new. Yeah, exactly.
And Aldine, they say that's coming. That's what.
Yep.
The Freed said on, I think it was Saturday night, I think on the headlines.
Sure.
But I thought to myself, man, that's a guy who stepped in and there was a bit of a shitstorm there. He handled the Boudreaux thing terribly.
Yep.
And you're like, okay, you had a great start. And as you said, 5 guys in the top 19, let's give him a 3-year extension. And he's 100.
Yeah.
Like he's a step away from the sort of Hall of Dead presidents at Disneyland.
Yeah, but compared to Lou Lamoriello, he's at spring break.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Doing body shots. That's uncomfortable.
Yeah. So the Sens, 2 wins this week. This weekend, excuse me.
Yeah.
No, they lost in overtime to Winnipeg.
Beat the Habs, lost in overtime to the Jets.
Stomped the Habs, actually.
Yeah, and so to pick this up from you,
okay,
thank you very much. That's 5 out of a possible 6 points in the last 3.
Yeah.
You want to talk about pretenders? Let's talk about the Montreal Canadiens. Not really, but just an aside.
What? Yeah. Okay.
That they came in and Ottawa for the most part dummied them.
Yep.
And now they had played the night before, and it was their 3rd in 4 nights. So that's not nothing in Montreal. I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They're not good.
They're not.
They're not good. They have a pile of overtime losses. But anyways, Habs fans were quick to point out, Montreal,
where the exits were.
Yeah, Montreal play. Yeah, and if we're going to do the ole in Ottawa, it's going to be on our terms. When you're down, when Habs are losing 5-1 in the 3rd, that's the time for the ole.
Stutzla pointed out in the post-game interview, I believe it was with Claire Hanna in the arena. It was nice to see all the Habs fans leaving for the exits, and he for some reason took some flack for that. Like, this is your star. Like, this is your guy. Why shouldn't he throw a cheap shot or two?
I'm totally down with it, especially a guy who's got a running feud with the Habs.
Yeah.
And not just Gallagher, when Sherratt was there, just a bunch of things, right?
An Olympic diving contest for sure.
So it comes down to, Ottawa played well, Montreal played poorly. Primo, not great that night.
Right.
But what you want to see with a team that is trying to turn a cruise ship around in Ottawa is you go, okay, you played well tonight. Do it again.
Yep.
In the Paul McLean words, it's an everyday league. Do it again. And they played very well against Winnipeg.
Yep. They did.
And if it wasn't for Hellebuck, but guess what? That's how it works. But that's how they need to play, right? They need to be more.
They did try very hard with like 3 seconds left to piss that away before getting the overtime point.
Yep. But that is what Ottawa does.
Yeah.
And today, they tried all kinds of funky shit. On Sunday, against the Flyers in the early goings. You're like, is anybody in this game? You've done it now 3 games in a row. And that, at this point, I don't even care about wins. You start losing games 2-1. I am way better with that. That's what it comes down to for me is I need to see you change the copious bad behavior.
A change would do you good.
Yeah. Those sorts of things. I need to see you perform differently.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with this, right? And so the 5-3 win, there were some shitty bonehead mistakes in the first period that left them down 2-0. And the power play, again, you look at Winnipeg. Yeah, you either have to be lights out on your specialty teams, or you have to have great goaltending and be the best 5-on-5 team in the league. One or the other, right? You can't be
tough going.
Yeah, but you can't be muddling around like Ottawa is in the bottom third of the league in every category.
Yeah, no.
Right, that is.
There aren't many teams who will succeed in the bottom third.
Because Winnipeg,
category.
Both their specialty teams, PK and PP, are both in the bottom third.
Yeah.
But 5-on-5 with a goalie who's going to
put
up.
Hellebuck, yeah.
This is it. And you go, we're okay. We're going to wait for you to make a mistake, and we have enough skill.
And you will.
Yeah, but, beyond Scheifele, now Scheifele didn't play, but beyond Scheifele and Connors.
I love Nick Ehlers.
Yeah, and he scored the beautiful, he made Chikrin look like a fool.
You fool!
Yeah. But he did.
Yeah, no, but
it's the whole I'm reaching. And anybody who's played minor soccer.
Actually, the one I think of from that game is the one over Brandstrom's head that creates a 3-on-1. It's like 15 feet over his head. He's like, I got it. I can get. Oh, no.
Yeah.
I can't.
I've actually missed it by 3 of me.
I enjoyed his level of ambition, his optimism. I can do this. Oh, no, I can't.
The 5'5" guy.
So he sat out Sunday.
Who's trying to jump 15 feet. Nah, it's
not going to work.
Yeah, like I said, if you're a minor soccer player and the ball
good for
goes
you,
wide,
man. Shoot for the moon.
And you try and kick your foot up to the side like you're going to somehow knock it down, but it still goes whizzing by.
Yeah, not so much.
And you're like, oh, I'm a can reject.
Yeah.
It is, one of those things where Ehlers is great and he has skill, but it's not a deep team. It is not.
It's not. No, you're right.
And defensively, love Morrissey.
Although they did like that trade, that Dubois. You bring in Kapari, you bring in Velarde.
Iafallo.
Yeah, it added to their they didn't get a Dubois in return, but they did add to their depth. No,
and if you can fill your middle six, right, which is what they
that's right.
They had a bit of a grab bag.
Yep,
and you don't get PL Dubois anymore.
PL.
But yeah, you've lost a bit. That's a team that has removed Dubois and Wheeler.
Yep.
Both out.
Yep.
And essentially you brought in, as you said, the guys they did, Iafallo, Dubois, Velarde.
Yep.
It's like Philly we talked about when you go
Kapari.
You've removed Provorov and whoever else it is, but then you're like the same team. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting how you sometimes can have addition by subtraction. But anyways, doubling back to Ottawa, they've done it now for 3 games in a row where you got to keep it down. You got to keep the goals against down. You got to stop doing the bullshit that's going to shoot yourself in the foot. Everybody, you got to have a little more structure in your own end. There's just so many ways you can go with this, Matt. It's crazy, but when you don't shoot yourself in the foot, when you minimize your own errors, it's amazing what can happen.
Evolving Wild, who does some really nice stuff on the analytics side, keeps posting graphs just about every other game at this point, suggesting here's Ottawa with Hamonic, here's Ottawa without Hamonic, here's Ottawa when they put Hamonic back in. Oh, here's Ottawa when they yank Hamonic back out. And it can't possibly be that simple, but their numbers suggest sometimes it's that simple. This is a guy you have to stop putting in your lineup.
Yeah, and I believe he sat the Habs game.
He sat Saturday. He's back in Sunday.
He played Sunday, and they won Sunday.
They did win Sunday, so I guess, but
they did allow
3 goals.
2 goals against Montreal. They allowed 2 goals against Winnipeg, and they allowed 3 today.
So on Sunday, you and I were in here doing this, so we didn't get to watch that Sens game as close as maybe we could have, but they did bring back Shane Pinto. That saw them move Ridley Gregg to the wing. Is that what you thought was coming? Because I saw a bunch of talk on Ottawa Sports Radio, on Ottawa Hockey Twitter, that maybe this would be like that first time you could run 1 through 4, Stützle, Norris, Pinto, and Gregg, and maybe you'd flip that for his first game back, put Pinto on the 4th line, up and down. Were you cool with the idea that they moved Gregg to the wing here, or would you have liked to have seen them try this up the middle with 4 really strong guys here?
And I'm looking at And then again today, I listened to most of the first period on the radio as well.
Yeah.
En route here. So I have no idea on Sunday's game against the Flyers what the lineup combination was. But that Giroux, Tkachuk, Gregg line has been. I love Ridley Gregg. I love what he does as a pure rookie.
Not ready for number one though, right? Like
no.
Between those two,
no. Not on a contending team.
Yeah,
certainly not.
Okay, yeah,
certainly not. But no, I don't ever see Stützle. I guess it comes down to Gregg or Pinto playing on the fourth line.
No, but you could have for a couple games here.
Yeah, if you're going to ease Pinto back in, he's the guy I put back.
That's right.
And so I think when you look at what Gregg's faceoff numbers are, not great.
No.
Not great as a pure rookie, as I said.
And rookies always struggle.
He's under 40%, I think, in that range. And so he is the guy who you
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah, not even.
Not quite.
He is the guy you're going to move to the wing.
Yeah.
If that's the case.
Yeah.
I don't know what the long-term stats are, but or the future is, but if you look at Pinto and what his resume is, that's a guy who I think could be Giroux-like on face-offs in the future.
Yeah.
I think he has his college numbers sort of project out that way. I just think he's going to be very proficient on the dot. So to me, he's the guy I'd rather keep there.
Right.
And move Gregg. If that's the case, and that is a real anecdotal at the moment kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yes, I do see it that way.
Okay. Anything else on the Sens before we move into some of the All-Star news this weekend?
Yeah, but like I said, show me. Do it again.
Yeah. Well, they do, like you said, 5 of the last 6 points. And look, the season's lost. But like one of the things I guess we overlooked when talking, or at least I did, when talking about whether it was time to start selling, what you might be willing to do around the core is, well, let's see what it looks like with all three of Stützle, Norris, and Pinto here, because it's a pretty small sample size. I don't know if we've ever seen it for more than 5 games.
No. Last year, Norris was hurt for most of it. The year before, Pinto was hurt for most of it.
Like today was Pinto's 100th career game.
Yeah. The rest of the season, and I'm not sure you and I have talked about it, but
right.
It's absolutely, the rest of the season is so much about who will be here moving forward.
Right.
You know, who can be relied upon in future years and who can't.
Yeah.
Right? That's really what the rest of the season comes down to. And as I've said to you, I don't care. Once they went to overtime against the Jets on Saturday, I'm like, it's a 3-on-3. Sure. Nobody gives a damn.
Coin flip at that point.
It's how you play for 60 minutes that I really want to see for the rest of this. And if you can find some structure, and by structure, I guess what I really mean is guys who buy into structure.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see for the next 40.
As we move off of that, on Saturday we saw they unveiled the captains and co-captains for the NHL All-Star Game and the celebrity captains. One of whom I'd never heard of in my life, and
Tate
I
McRae?
bet you that is the one that is currently most popular, most relevant. That is the world that Matt lives in at this point. But they unveil that it'll be one team is Nate McKinnon captaining with Tate McRae is the celebrity, and then Cale Makar is the alternate captain. You also have Quinn Hughes with Michael Bublé, and then Jack Hughes as the alternate captain. Jack Hughes.
I thought it was Jack Hughes with Quinn Hughes as the...
Could be. Probably doesn't matter all that much.
It is bubbly.
Yeah, and then Connor McDavid with Will Arnett.
And Leon...
Draisaitl.
Draisaitl.
Yeah. Austin Matthews with Justin Bieber and Morgan Riley. And
this is all a complete effort to try and get Justin Bieber involved. 100%.
I guess so, but like to me, like they wouldn't have had to work this hard. Like he was going to be part of this. He's buddies with those guys, and anyway, the thing I said, and I said this to Versage back in the fall when they were kind of going through this idea of celebrities and co-captains, and because we're doing the draft again, right? This isn't just captains. We're going to do the fantasy draft, then the competition, then the games. I would have not, I guess pairing them up this way is okay. The thing that bugged me when we used to do the fantasy draft is all these guys always pick their teammates first because that's hockey culture, right? And so I understand how this is going to come off, and maybe you'll be correct here to tell me I'm a fucking idiot. And you tell me that all the time, but you're not always correct when you tell me. Sometimes you're correct, often you're correct. All right. Why wouldn't you? There's 4 Leafs. It's in Toronto. Make the 4 Leafs the 4 captains. And now you don't have guys all just picking their teammates. Because that's the part that.
How many Canucks do you have out there?
5.
Yeah. So you still have the same problem.
No, you don't, because they're not captains. They're not making the picks.
No.
So now it's just.
Okay, I see.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because we all know the Matthews and Morgan Riley team is going to pick either Willie or Mitch with their first pick. And
well, it is an all-star game, so I would certainly pick Leafs. There's going to be no hitting, and there's going to be nothing. That's the team I'd go with.
Okay. That's fair, and I think that's probably why Morgan Riley is an alternate captain, so he doesn't have to be in the draft and maybe risk the Kessel.
Be chosen last.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. But like, one of the things I don't like about this format is the fact that all these hockey guys, like we had Eric Stahl picking Cam Ward first back in the day, right? And these sorts of hockey guys are just kind of boring. And so
boring.
I'm not saying that the only way to fix it would have been to do the 4 Leafs, but like that would have been an easy out because it's Toronto.
It is Toronto.
Yeah,
I don't mind the idea.
Yeah.
I know it's set up for
you
could say...
you could easily say, oh, it's all about Toronto. Well, this sort of stopped it from being all about Toronto, right?
Yeah,
like
that you're forced now to be more interesting.
Right, because now you have McDavid and Draisaitl. I've seen that. Like, split that up. Let's have McDavid and Matthews and Draisaitl and Marner and McKinnon and... Jack Hughes, all those guys are already off the map and they can't combine with each other. Right?
Well, we've seen the 2 Kachucks, whether it was last year or the year before.
Yeah, yeah.
You see them on the same team, and we've done that. No, I like your idea. Or whoever's idea this is that you've plucked from, or I assume it's a Matt Robinson original.
Let's just ride with that. Yeah.
But that would have been a good idea. That would have been a way to make force things.
Yes.
To be more
That's all I want. I want the hockey guys to stop being boring.
Yeah.
This way you could, and look, it wouldn't have made any sense. But like, you're in Toronto, if you just pick 4 Canucks, you'd have accomplished the same thing, but it wouldn't have made as much sense, right? Like, I'm just sort of trying to make this less dull.
And can we make it, it's going to be cringy. It's going to be cringy.
It will be.
Because you know that Justin Bieber, who's had crazy international success.
As has Michael Bublé, and it's a different world.
I know, but Bieber is that guy would trade all of his success to be a Leaf. Like, you get that feeling, like
a little bit. Like that's always how this goes. Like, there's been so many different guys who've said like, all the top hockey players in the world would trade everything to be like the biggest rock star in the world.
Yeah.
And vice versa, right? Like the biggest rock stars and we're like, yeah, but if I was just the best athlete in the sport.
This is what I want to be what I'm not.
Yeah.
I want to be something else. But I get the feeling that the Biebs would go, I made more money as a singer and all these things.
Oh man, like the amount of money all 4 of these celebrity coaches have made compared to what NHLers make.
To what Austin Matthews has.
Right.
And you're like, but I want to be that. I want to be that. And so, Bieber's going to get on there and it's going to be something that's.
Yeah. My first run at this was like, oh, look, you paired up Matthews and Riley, McDavid and Draisaitl, Makar and McKinnon. And I was like, that's stupid. But if you hadn't done it, those were just going to be their first picks.
So here's a more interesting question, Matt.
Okay. As I'm done presenting my less interesting questions.
If you could if you had to choose one of those 2 duos to start your team with, who are you taking?
Like to start an NHL team with?
Not Tate McRae. I'm asking for.
It's Bublé, of course.
Yeah, leave Bublé, Arnett. Will Arnett isn't, but he's another guy who wants to be a Leaf.
He does.
Totally believe
he was the narrator for that All or Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's great, Will Arnett.
He is. Yeah.
Blades of Glory, check it out. But if you had
Rob's new movie recommendation.
Yeah, no, it's the 2 hot dogs in one bun. What is wrong with this picture? Yeah, sorry, that is Rob's.
That's up to date.
Sorry, it's not a Simpsons reference for you.
Well, it should be.
Yeah.
Right. Hack the bone.
Which one of those 4
of those
duos?
Oh, I can pick all 4.
You have to pick one
of the 4 duos.
Do you want to have McDavid and Draisaitl? Do you want to have McKinnon and Makar? Who? Hey? Or Hughes and Hughes?
I am looking hard at Hughes and Hughes because they're the youngest, right? Like,
I'm going McKinnon and Makar.
It's Makar that's doing it, right?
Well, he's the guy who drives that bus.
Yeah.
For sure.
And like McKinnon this year is killing his best numbers ever. But like 2 years ago, you could be like, oh, here's a guy getting $12.6 million who's never scored more than 40 goals or 90 points. And you're like, yeah, but he's got Makar. Like,
yep.
It's
Makar 1 and McKinnon 2 in that duel.
I think it is Makar, McKinnon. If you wanted me to build a franchise tomorrow.
Is Morgan Rielly the worst of those 8?
David Draisaitl, Makar. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's on record.
No, I love Morgan Rielly. Like, I love what he's done for the Leafs. He took the discount. Like, this year has been his best year.
It's not going to be a discount long term, though.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure he still is.
Okay.
Oh, you mean when the wheels come off down the road?
Yeah.
But that's the way any of these guys are
sure.
when they sign at this point.
Is he still dating? What's her name?
No, he's married to her now.
Woo! Yeah. That's a get.
Yeah. I was going to say Tessa Bonhomme. It is not Tessa. It's Tessa Virtue. Sorry, Tessa Bonhomme.
Good for you, Mo.
Yeah. I don't want Tessa Bonhomme to hear about this when, like I said, Kenzie Lalonde coming up, Cheryl Pounder coming up. It's Tessa Virtue, a different type of skater.
Yeah.
But yes, out of the 8 players, he is the weakest. Like him a lot, but yeah, no.
You're out. You're out, Mo.
Sorry, Mo. Yeah, I think it's got to be McKinnon, Makar, but on the back of Makar.
And you're saying Hughes and Hughes second, maybe?
I think so.
That's crazy. Draisaitl and McKinnon and McDavid.
But both.
You're the bronze medalists.
But both got like 3-4 years on.
Yeah.
It's kind of like prime versus prime. Yeah, that's probably not my pick. But like, if you wanted me to start a franchise tomorrow, yeah, I'd probably take the Hughes guys second.
That, my friend, is interesting, and we'll come back to that.
We will. That's where we'll wrap this one up. It's going to be a big week on the podcast. We got Kenzie Lalonde here on Tuesday morning. Scotty Mack is going to be on the podcast on Wednesday. I forgot to mention that off the top. He's got some things to say about what just went down with the 49ers. I think he also wants to throw an elbow or two at Versage while he's out of the country and unable to defend himself.
And really, he wants to throw an elbow at Versage.
Yeah.
And he wants to talk about the 49ers.
There is a little bit of both of those things going on. And we'll, of course, ask Scotty Mack for his takes on the Jays as we continue towards.
No opinions there.
Yeah, no. And then, like I said, Thursday morning, Kevin Mickey from Sportsnet. We'll talk some Royal Rumble. Rob, who's your pick in the 2024 Royal Rumble?
Hulk Hogan. Yes. Ultimate Warrior.
Okay. A couple of horrible racists right there. Leaning in.
Booker T.
Oh, no. If you haven't heard, look, search YouTube for Booker T, Hulk Hogan, because we can't play it here. So we'll wrap this one up. It's going to be a big week on the podcast. Anyway.
CM Punk.
Yeah. Okay. That's a safe pick, actually. So we'll wrap this one up here. For Rob, my name is Matt. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you subscribe wherever you're hearing us right now. Follow along on social media at Tall Can Audio. And we will see you all on Tuesday morning with Kenzie Lalonde.
See ya.
I am unhappy with the confusing and at times confrontational nature of that meeting. I wanted it to go better. I wanted it to go better!